Amazon just announced a new round of layoffs. Over 14,000 corporate white-collar jobs are going to be wiped out next week. But this should not be a surprise. Guys, we covered this story in October. Amazon is getting lean and mean. And today we're going to cover why this is happening and what you need to know about your job in your career ladder. In October, Amazon laid off 14,000 white-collar jobs, and then they announced they plan to lay off up to 30,000. And by the way, this is 10% of their corporate workforce. There's over 1 million employees in Amazon already. By the way, there's over 1 million robots working in warehouses at Amazon too. We covered that in a video. You can check that out here. But out of all the remaining employees, they're wiping out the corporate workforce. But why is this happening and who's being cut? So the first thing to cover here is who's being cut. So you're looking at people from Amazon Web Services, the retail operations, Prime Video, and HR. Now, the question that initially comes to my mind is this AI or is this something else? And we'll get to that in just a moment. What I do want to highlight here, though I think that's important, is the trend that we're seeing in HR. People in HR is a very dangerous career field to be in right now. We're seeing time and time again, company after company, really just getting lean on HR over the last 6 months. I mean, we even covered a story that I thought was completely insane, and that McDonald's, this was several months ago, I'll post a link to the video here, McDonald's used AI to screen 64 million job applications across their different franchises. And they're not the only ones. Taco Bell, Wendy's, all the companies are using HR to screen applications. It's a whole nother story for an whole nother video there. But I think that's quite remarkable. And we also covered just a couple days ago how many jobs are at risk from AI. And again, not to just really beat a dead horse, HR is one of the jobs that is, I think, at biggest risk. There's just so much admin, there's so much bloat, and AI, at the end of the day, is able to screen applications very, very quickly and effectively. And by the way, if you're concerned about your job and where your career might be leading, check out this video. According to Microsoft, these are the top 40 jobs and 40 careers that are at risk. We go through it real quick. Check that out. I think you're gonna want to know where your career is headed. But what about this round of layoffs at Amazon? Is this AI related or is it something else? Well, I think this is an interesting thing to take a look at, because according to Andy Jassy, the CEO of Amazon, he says this is a quote, not really financially driven, and it's not even really AI driven. Rather, he says it's culture. And basically what he's saying is that the company has too much bureaucracy. Now, he did continue and say that he does expect AI to reduce the size of their workforce over the coming weeks, months, and years, which isn't surprising. I think one of the things that's interesting is how many people, I've had a comment a few months ago, someone who said that they worked in an Amazon warehouse and they felt pretty safe that robots wouldn't take their job. And then, a few months later, well, the robots were in that warehouse. So something to be aware of. Just, again, kind of pay attention to. And I do want to highlight this idea of white-collar work and how it's really evolved. After COVID, a lot of people were working remotely from home. I work remotely from home. And one of the things that I've kind of noticed in this remote work environment, and I'd love to hear your feedback, is that it feels like a lot of people are kind of hiding in the cracks. They're trying to look busy and they're not actually accomplish anything. And I think that's a really dangerous spot to be in, especially in a remote work environment. And I think that's what Amazon is starting to see. They're saying, hey, we've got all this bureaucracy, we've got all these people that are on the payroll, but they're not really adding value. They're not really driving the company forward. And I just want to give you a quick story that happened to me recently. So I'm working with a sales guy at one of the organizations that I do consulting with. And we kind of said, hey, buddy, you're way backed up on email responses. You're not responding to emails. We're looking at your email inbox. You've got like 6,000 emails you haven't responded to or haven't been looked at. What's going on? And he's like, oh, well, he gave a bunch of excuses as to why it happened. We said, okay, well, by this time next week, do you think we could have knocked this out? If you were to do nothing this upcoming week, could you at least make sure to knock out these emails and reply to these emails. By the way, I see 15 leads, 15 people that you have spoken to and sent emails to that are waiting on a reply. Could you reply to them? He said, yeah, I can do that. By the way, all those emails that he had sent out were all automated because I set up automations, marketing automations in their CRM to try to prompt replies. The problem is if the sales team doesn't reply, then it's all for naught. It's all worthless. It's all wasted money. So anyways, he says he's going to do it. He says he's going to reply. That'll be his top priority. Well, we had another meeting this week, and guess how many people he'd replied to? Yeah, that's the number. He replied to 2 people. And 2 of those people were people that he hopped on a call with me and said, hey, what do I do? How do I do this? I said, hit the reply button, write what you want to say, and then go from there. And those were the 2 people. So he replied to nobody. He did nothing. And guys, I think, especially in the remote field, in the white collar field, this is a very dangerous place to be. It's not enough just to do work. You kind of need to show the fruits of your labor. For all my Christian brothers and sisters out there, there's a story in the Bible about Jacob, who gets sold to a wealthy Egyptian oligarch named Potiphar. And because Jacob has the Holy Spirit empowering him, everything he touches turns to gold, basically. And Potiphar recognizes that, and Jacob goes from a slave all the way up to the second man in the Egyptian, in Egypt, which was like the most advanced economy and civilization at the time. So why do I say all this? Well, guys, we're going through a time of great change. We're going through a time of great change. And now is the time to be proactive, to stay active, to find opportunities. And we've covered this, guys, time and time again. Even if you don't fully buy into AI, these companies are spending tens of billions of dollars, hundreds of billions of dollars on this technology. And they're gonna want people in their organizations that are excited about it and willing to adapt and push it forward. There's nothing worse than having people on your team that refuse to adapt to new technology and new initiatives. There's nothing worse than it. It is very, very, very frustrating when you're spending billions of dollars, not that I know from personal experience, but when you're spending tons and tons of money and the people don't even use the tools. That's very annoying. And I can tell you right now, when your name goes on the chopping block, be one of the people that's using the technology and getting jobs done and being easy to work with. That is my personal stance, and I think that I would encourage that to everyone over at Amazon. Guys, if you like today's video, please be aware that AI is not all doom and gloom. There are lots of opportunities. And yesterday we covered a really cool opportunity over at Meta. Meta is giving out tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars in grants for people that are using AI glasses. You want to know how to apply and how you can qualify? Go check out the video from yesterday, and I'll see you there, boys. Peace.